the various information systems offer support to organizations. So before we even look at how these information systems offer support to organizations, we need to know what are the functions within an organization. So what are the functions within an organization? So we are looking at organizational functions. In other words, what are the various functions that are actually performed within an organization? So for us to be able to for an organization to be able to produce and even sell products or maybe services, there are key functions that uh, all organizations must take. There are key functions that all organizations must take. The first function is the design and production. So an organization should be able to design whatever product they want to sell, and then produce that product for so that they are able to sell. Number two, there is the finance function. The organization needs to be able to manage finances in terms of uh, the production cost and even profits and whatever comes into the organization or the company. We need to also have a function known as the human resource that deals with recruitments and even all issues pertaining the people employed in that company. We also need a function that is known as the sales and sales and marketing function, where products are sold or services are sold, and advertisement and marketing is done. Then we have the administration function. These are the people, or it is the function that overlooks or oversees the business operations. Then we have research and development functions. We have research and development functions. So the work of research and development function is basically to find out more how to actually make the organization better, how to develop the organization, etc, etc. So all these functions are going can only be achieved if the different departments of the organizations work together and they have the same objectives. So for all these functions to be achieved, then it basically means that these different parts or these different functions or different departments handling different functions needs to be able to communicate to one another. There needs to be a communication for them to be able to reach their the objectives of the organization. So there are factors that are considered when it comes to the production function. There are factors that are considered when it comes to the production function. So for an organization or a company to be able to generate maybe product or offer services, then there will be need to be a combination of a number of things. That is one, the capital, that is the amount, the capital, that is the money and resources that is actually used to generate the products or the services or to offer the services. There's energy, there is labor, there is materials, there is information. So all these are things that are combined together to enable the to enable the generation of a product or the offering of a service. Now, when you look at labor, we are actually looking at both mental or rather it can be both mental and the physical effort of the people employed in that organization, or it can be only the mental or only the physical effort of people employed in that particular organization, and it has different forms. Labor has different forms. For example, things like filing, people who are doing filing, lifting things, data processing, making decisions, and also line management, management of lines. These are actually uh, things that are done in the sector of labor. So when we look at labor, it's basically an effort or maybe a task that an employee uh, is going to undertake so that is going to is able to, or in the verge of producing a product or a service. The task that an employee takes in the verge of producing a product or a service is what we call labor. Now, we also have another factor known as the capital. So when you talk about capital, we are looking at the machines and even the tools that are needed there to produce the product or to give the service. Now, so when we talk about capital, we are really talking about a physical capital that we can buy through the financial capital, for example, through loans or maybe sales of shares in the organizations, or we can actually buy using the profit that is generated by the organization. Number three, we have energy. Now, energy is provided through the use of gas. So we can use gas. Somebody's mic is on. Kindly turn that mic off to avoid echo. So energy, we obtain energy through the use of gas. Either we can use gas, we can use electricity, we can use steam, or we can use solar power. Why do we need energy? We need energy to light up, for example, the premises. If it is an office, it needs to have lights. Okay, it needs to be heated up. So we can use energy to light up the premises. We can also use energy to make the machines that we really have work. So for machinery work, and also to make sure that the organization is comfortable in terms of the areas the employees are working. Then we also need materials. So when we talk about materials, we are talking about the raw form products that are actually the raw form materials or the raw form goods that are actually converted to products or maybe to service. For example, if we talk about a restaurant, then we are going to look at the things, the ingredients that we need to prepare the food, okay, and then and also the things that are actually needed to are used to serve the customers. That will be the materials. Then we have information as a factor as well. So when we talk about information, we are talking about the knowledge and the expertise that is needed to make sure that we are producing the end product. So in a restaurant, we will need to know the ingredients that are necessary for example, preparing biryani or preparing pilau, and we need to know what is the quality of the ingredients that are going to be used. We need to know how they are going to be how those ingredients are going to be mixed in the process of cooking the food. So that is information. Okay. So this is these are the factors. We're looking at the production, the function, the production function, and we have looked at the factors um, that are looked at when it comes to the production function. So the second function of an organization is the finance function. So when you talk about finance function, we're basically looking at the function, or rather the section of an organization that deals or that keeps records of money. They keep records of money that is actually received, or maybe the money that is paid out by the organization. So the information here, or rather they keep transactions, and this information will be used to actually generate some statements, some financial statements, maybe to enable taxation, for example, or just to make sure that the organization is complying with the legal requirements. Now, apart from using the information for uh, legal requirements or legal confirmation, we can also use it to produce what we call the management accounts, to ensure that we have senior managers that are able to plan and also review the business strategy. So when you look at the finance department, or rather the finance unit, is apart from all the other responsibilities that we have mentioned, it is the department is also administering employee expenses and even salaries. So when you are employed in an organization, it is the financial department that is going to settle your salaries. So payment of salaries, for the unit to be able to pay salaries, of course, they have to take in your account details. They have to look at the deductions that are supposed to be made from your account. For example, what task you have to pay, and if they spend pension, or if you have a loan, all that is the work that is done by the finance unit. Then we have the human resources unit. led by the human resource manager. Now, when you talk about human resource, we are really looking at the responsibility. We are looking at the persons whose main responsibilities are actually recruiting employees, creating selections or training, and even developing the staff. So the human resource focuses on majorly recruitment, selecting staff, training staff, and looks at how staff are actually the development of the staff in that particular organization. So this could involve things like developing the staff to make sure that there's maximization of the potential in a manner that is going to cater for the achievement of the organization's objectives. So human resources also will be required or may be required to actually comply with what we call the legislation that is actually applicable in the country they are in. For example, if you look at the United Kingdom, you have employers that employers that will have to maintain accurate personal records that complies with the United Kingdom Data Protection Act, that is of 1984. So the human resources will adapt most of the times a welfare role that is going to actually include looking up after the people employed in that company as they are while they are at work. Also, you'll be in charge of creating policies that are going to balance what the organization needs from the employee. Now, the unit will also deal with the welfare of the employee, ensuring that the organization is actually applying or is really applying the legislative nature or the legislative policy of the employees to ensure that the employees are getting their rights and all that. Now we have the other function, which is sales and marketing function. Now, the sales and marketing function is just going to just do a research on what the customers needs and then come up with a strategy on making sure that the products the company makes is satisfying the needs of the customer. Okay, so as the sales and marketing function is doing its research, it is going to look at things like uh, the market to which they are going to send the products in. They're going to look at the different types of consumers that are actually making up the market in terms of age, in terms of background, in terms of gender, etc. And also they're going to look at what does the customer in that particular market prefer? What are the preferences of the customers in that particular market? So we have the marketing department in this case that will need to actually bring in the customer preferences and then make sure or come up with a strategy to make sure that the products are designed in a way that they meet the customer requirements or customer preferences. So they are just there, and their work is to persuade the customers, talk to customers, persuade them to buy their end products that actually are manufactured through marketing and research. Then we have the sales departments that is actually the coming in with the selling strategy that is going to involve mail shots and even traveling sales representatives, telephone sales, devising the sales interview, etc., etc. Then we have the administrative or the facilities management or a function that is going to deal with the tasks that are involved in administration, including handling mails, dealing with inquiries and even complaints, catering, and even computer services. So they are going to produce documents, for example, forms, stationaries, and even newsletters to enable the organization and also maintain the organization's premises and equipment at hand. So although the function, the administrative function, is not always recognized as important, it is actually holding the organization together. It is a glue that holds the organization together. So without this department, you're going to have customer complaints that won't be resolved. You're going to have customer orders that may not be processed, and even we might have the workforce that may not have the tools that are really required to complete the tasks that are given that are assigned to them. So we also have the research and development function. So to look at the research and development functions, the aim of the research and development function is to improve products that are existing. We have products that we are creating, so we want to make them better. So you can improve the products that are existing, or they are there to create new and better products, or improve the methods of creating the products, and also have some creative or more effective processes in the products creation. So when these are taken into consideration, then there will be a reduced cost in terms of the organization. The organization benefits in a way that the cost is going to be reduced, and then profitability is going to increase, and then the organization is going to remain at the top in terms of competition. So those are the different functions uh, in an organization. Now we were just looking at the general functions. Now I want us to look at the range of functions within an organization that information systems support. The functions that we have just looked at are general functions. So we want to focus on which functions the information systems support. But before we move to that, I want to take one or two questions before I go ahead. It is a rule in this class that once you come in, your camera must be on. Those who have their cameras off, once you come into this class, your camera must be on. Kepron, your camera is off. I want to take one or two questions before I proceed. Any question? No questions? All right. If there are no questions, we can move on. We can move on. We can move on to the next part. So in this part, we are going to look at the range of functions in an organization that information systems support. So the first thing that we look at is having information systems for business functions. So the first thing here is supporting business functions in an enterprise with information systems. How does information systems support business functions? Okay, so we need to revisit the key or the principle or the main business functions as I have brought them clear. But I'm going to focus on four, as these are the main that cannot miss in a business or in an organization. The first one is marketing and sales. The second one is production. The third one is accounting and finance. The fourth is human resource. Now, these are the business functions. So information systems support business functions in an enterprise, and the key business functions that cannot miss in any organization are marketing and sales, production, accounting and finance, and human resource. I have discussed all these functions. Number two, we have marketing information systems. So we have information systems that are used for marketing activities. We are these are information systems, or the marketing activities are normally directed uh, uh, into planning. We create plans, and then we make sure we are promoting our products and even selling our products and selling our services to make sure that they are actually meeting the needs of customers and the objectives of the organization. So we have marketing information systems that support decision making regarding the market mix, and these information systems are these include we have the product, we have the price, we have the place, and the promotion. So they're things that we need to look at, so that to have a support of the decision making on the market mix, we need to look at the products we are offering, the prices of products, the place or the marketplace, and even the promotion that we need to bring into. So a marketing information system is going to rely on is going to get external information to a higher degree than any other information system, because we are marketing to the external, we are not marketing to the internal. So we have to get to acquire information system, I mean information from the external scale. So the marketing information systems have or is made up of two subsystems that are created to check the boundary spanning, and also bringing into the farm and data and information about the marketplace. So there are two subsystems. The first one is for boundary spanning, and then the second one is for the collection of data and information about the marketplace. Now, what is the objective of marketing and research? Of course, when we are doing marketing, we are doing a marketing research is to, we just want to collect data on the real customers that we have out there, and even the potential customers. We call them prospects customers. We need to collect the data. We need to know what they need. We need to know how the market is out there. That is why we have the marketing research. So we also have marketing intelligence, what we call competitive, which is actually responsible for the collection of of data and even interpretation of data about the competitors of that organization. Who are the companies, or which are the companies that produce information same that produce products that are similar to the products that we are producing, so that we can get to know about them, and we can have a competitive advantage over them. So it's also important to understand the marketing mix subsystems. So the marketing mix subsystems are the ones that are going to support decision making regarding the introduction of products, regarding the pricing of products and services, and regarding the promotion, also in terms of advertisement and the personal selling, and also distribution. So we have decisions that are integrated into the sales forecast, in other words, into the sales prediction, that are actually going in terms of the ongoing sales, and then we compare the decisions that we make, we forecast, and the plans, and we set plans for the marketing. So when you look at the marketing mix subsystems, it has a number of subsystems, like 5 of them. And the first one is the product subsystem. Number 2 is the place subsystem. Number 3 is the promotion subsystem. Number 4 is the price subsystem. And number 5 is the sales forecasting subsystem. So when you look at the product subsystem, it is a system that will actually help us to introduce new products. So it's very important to continually bring new products into the market based on what the customers require, for us to stand for the company to stand higher when it comes to the competition that is given unto them. So the product system is going to support the balancing, the balancing. It should support the balancing of risk in the overall, and even the new product portfolio that is going to be more aggressive to competitors, assuming that there is higher degrees of risk for potential and higher payoff. So there are decisions. The making of decisions about the introduction of new products is somehow unstructured. In other words, there is no formal structured way to actually come up with it or bring it in. We have information systems that support this process in several ways. One, we have professional support systems that assist the designers in the knowledge work. We have the DSS that are used to actually evaluate some proposed new systems. Remember, DSS, we said it is decision support system. Then when we have a decision support system, then a marketing manager can actually score the desirability of a new product using the system. Then we have electronic meeting systems that are going to help to bring the expertise of people dispersed in space, and even time to bear on the problem. Number 5, we have information that is derived from marketing intelligence and research that is vital, especially in evaluating new product ideas. Now, we have the place subsystem, and for the place subsystem is going to help us to make decisions, or is going to help the decision makers in actually making the product available to the customers at the right place that the product is needed and at the right time. So it is going to help the distribution in creating distribution channels for the product, and also look at the performance of the products. So when we use information technology in the place subsystem, it leads to an increase in the availability of information on the product movement in the distribution channel. For example, we have things like the barcoded universal product code UPC. We have the point of sales, that POS scanning. We have electronic data interchange, that is EDI. Then we have the supporting of just-in-time product delivery and customized delivery, which is really important. Then we have promotion subsystem. We then have promotion subsystem. So the promotion subsystem is often the most elaborate when it comes to it is often the most elaborate in the marketing information system, because it supports both the personal selling and advertising. We have the media selection packages that assist in selecting a mix of avenues to persuade the potential purchaser. So the promotion subsystem is there to actually promote the products by sending mails. We can use the television, we can use print media, we have the electronic media, for example, the internet and the web, and we can use to promote the products. Okay, then we have database marketing, that is actually relying on the accumulation and the use of extensive databases to actually segment customers and reach those customers with promotional information. So the telemarketing is actually taking over, because it is actually well supported by information technology. So we have the other subsystem, which is the price subsystem, and the price subsystem here helps us to get a decision, to actually make a decision in terms of of finding the degree of support from the decision support systems, and even accessing the databases that have the industry prices. So actually the price decision is unstructured as well, because it is going to look at the company's pricing objectives, and generally some strategies need to be set there to make sure that profit is actually maximized and profit is made. When we have information systems, then we have an opportunity to actually put our customers in groups. We segment customers, we put them in groups, in different groups, and then we charge different prices on the combination of the products and services that are provided there, as well as the circumstances of the sale transaction that are going to be there. So we have sales forecasting. Of course, it's the prediction of sales. So it is an area where we are we are using some quantitative methods to tamper with insight and experience. So we look at we are predicting the sales that are going to actually occur in a future. So we have quality techniques here that are used for what we call environmental forecasting, which is actually an attempt to just make some social, economic, or legal, and even the technological environment where the company is going to try to meet its plans in. So we have various techniques that are used in sales forecasting, and the first one, we have the group decision making techniques. Mostly is employed in the broad expert opinion. Then we have scenario analysis. In scenario analysis, we have each scenario. We are looking at each scenario in the future environment. Then we have the extrapolation of trends and even cycles through a time series analysis. So that's really important. So we have the manufacturing information systems, which was the third that we were looking at. So the manufacturing information systems basically um, we are looking at the marketplace, or rather the today's marketplace is actually focusing on some features that needs to be employed on these manufacturing companies. For example, things like the lean, which is actually the one that is highly effective. It has, like, you are using fewer input resources in the production. Then you use some better engineering in the production processes. You have low inventories, and what you get, the results that you get are results that are of less wastage. So we have the agile also. We have the agile. We have flexible. They are supposed to be flexible. In other words, they should be able to adjust the preferences of the customers on the products so fast, rapidly, and even the cost also. Then number four, there should be management for quality. They should be able to manage for quality, and they do this by making sure by measuring what we call quality through the production process and following the various standards, the world standards that are set there to make sure that our quality is met and quality is not leading to a high price option. Then we need to look at the structure of manufacturing information systems. So we need to have information technology there playing a role in the process of designing and even manufacturing. So when we have manufacturing information systems, they're actually the most difficult, or rather, they're among the most difficult to develop and also to implement. Developing a manufacturing information system is very difficult. Implementing that system is also very difficult. But we normally embed transactional processing systems in the production process um, in various or in other company processes. So we have the data that is actually being provided by the transaction processes, and then we use it. The data is used by the management support subsystems um, that are actually working together with the transaction processing systems. So there are manufacturing information subsystems, which include: one, we have the product design and engineering, we have the product scheduling, we have quality control, we have facilities planning, production cost, we have logistics, and we have inventory subsystems. So when we look at the product, when we look at the product design and engineering, uh, they are actually supported widely today by CAD. I mentioned CAD in the other classes, and CAD, I said, stands for computer aided design. We also have the CAE, which stands for computer aided engineering systems. Now, the computer aided design are actually systems that are going to help the designer with uh, uh, some automatic calculations and also showing the interfaces while the design information is stored in the databases. So they're actually tools that are helping these engineers in the designing processes. Then we have product scheduling. When we talk about product scheduling, is actually the central part of the central part of the manufacturing information systems. Now, they are really complex because they have to make sure that there's a proper combination of the human, the machinery in use, and even the material resources that are going to be to be provided in there, and the provision is supposed to be uh, in appropriate times to make sure that goods are manufactured. So when you look at product scheduling and the ancillary processes today, they are actually controlled with what we call manufacturing resource planning system, which is going to be the main information tool. So the manufacturing resource planning is an elaborate software that is going to convert the sales forecast for that particular manufacturing company into actually and give out or create a detailed production plan that is going to be featured or to be mastered into the schedule of production. So the computer integrated manufacturing, which is IM, is a new strategy that manufacturers use to take control of the entire manufacturing process. And of course, we have the CAD and CAE that continue to to actually implement the manufacturing. Then we have quality control subsystems, which are actually relying on data. They're relying on the data that is collected on the market or the shop floor by the sensors that are in the process control systems. Okay, we need to go to the accounting and financial information systems. So the accounting and financial information systems have 5 components. It's a system that have 5 components, and the first one is accounts receivable records. Then we have accounts payable records. Accounts receivable records are those records, the money in, the accounts that bring money in. Then accounts payable records, this is for the money out. It has payroll records, inventory control records to look at which product or which resource, which quality, which quantity was used. Then we have the general ledgers. So when we are dealing with financial information systems, you're going to rely on external sources. For example, we have online databases, we have product reports. Basically, when we want to deal with, we want to do a forecast of the finances and even the management of the funds. So they are very important functions that these financial information systems perform, which include we have financial forecasting and planning. Number 2, we have financial control. Number 3, we have the funds management. Number 4, we have the internal auditing that is also taken care of. Then we have financial forecasting. We need to look at financial cost forecasting. Of course, financial forecasting, as I said before, is predicting the inflow of funds into the company and also the outflow of the funds from the company in a long term in the future. How will money be flowing in? How will money be flowing out in that particular company? So we have the financial control. The financial control normally uses a tool that is we call a budget. It uses a tool that we call a budget. So a budget is going to show the various resources that are committed into the into that particular company for a given period. Okay. Then so we have 2 types of budgets. We have fixed budgets and we have flexible budgets. That means fixed cannot be changed that financial year, production year. Flexible can be changed. So we have we most of the time use spreadsheet programs as the main budgeting tools when it comes to budgeting. Then we have funds management. You have funds management. So how are actually the organization's assets, for example, the cash and even securities, be managed to a level that there is low risk in terms of losing them or going into a loss. So we have other companies or other production companies that have computerized systems to manage uh, the various securities, and also automatically generate uh, the orders for buying and selling. Then we also have internal auditing, which is a function that provides what we call an independent appraisal of the organization's accounting. So we have large companies, large production companies that have internal auditors, and these auditors are actually answerable to the audit committee of the board of directors. Then we can have also external audits. A company can bring external auditors do uh, to actually do financial audits on the company as well. Okay. Then we have human resources information systems. So the human resource information systems, as I have described earlier, I've said it supports the human resources function of an organization in that particular, the human resource function of an organization. Now, when you look at the name, it already shows you that it actually deals with the people that are working in that particular company. Okay. Now, to make sure that there's a optimal access to maybe a great variety of the internal stakeholders, there are a number of things that are really looked at. And the first one is the employees of the HR department in performance of their duties. How are these employees performing their duties? Then all the employees of the firm wishing to inspect their own records. We have employees of that company that would want to look into their records. Then we can have employees that are actually seeking information regarding what are the open positions, or what are the available benefits plans. We have managers throughout in that firm who are going through the process of evaluation and also making the personal decisions.